The men's 200 freestyle was an absolutely thrilling race that all came down to a final scramble at the end to determine who was Olympic champion and who would leave empty-handed. Coming into the meet, David Popovic was one of the biggest favorites. In 2021, at the age of 16, he was in this final in Tokyo where he missed out on the medals by 200ths, finishing in 4th. But the very next year, he became the first man to break 144 in nearly a decade, winning a world title at the 2022 World Championships in a 143.21. He followed that up with an even faster swim at that year's European Championships. After setting the 100 free world record, Popovic blasted a 142.97 in the 200 free. That makes him the third fastest performer in history, and since he was 17 at the time, that is also the world junior record, which I will never not find hilarious. After an off year in 2023, Popovic was back this year as he swam a stupid fast 143.13. Despite entering this meet with times faster than anyone else in this field has ever gone by a long ways, he would have some competition. Lucas Martins was coming off a big time swim of 144.14 from this year, which makes him the 7th fastest in history. Duncan Scott and Matt Richards were also in the field with best times of 144.26 and 144.30 that earned them Olympic silver and a world title respectively. Right from the start, Martins got things started. He won gold in the 400 free earlier this meet, so we already knew that he was in great form here. He flipped first in 24.05 at the 50, but Popovic was just 500ths behind in 24.10. Matt Richards was third with American Luke Hobson all the way back in 8th. At the half, Martins had extended his lead with a field-leading 26.47. Richards and Popovic had switched positions as Hobson upgraded one spot to 7th. Over the third 50, Martins came back on the field a bit as his early speed started to catch up with him. Popovic and Richards traded places once again as Hobson had the fastest third 50 of the entire field with a 26.63, which moved him all the way up to 4th. Martins paid heavily for his opening speed at the very end as he split the slowest final 50 out of anyone. David Popovic surged ahead with a 26.74, holding off Matt Richards to win gold by 2/100ths. Luke Hobson continued his push towards the finish line and was just behind the leaders to win the bronze medal. David Popovic had just won his first Olympic medal and it was golden. His margin of victory was 2/100ths, the exact same amount he missed the bronze medal by in Tokyo. Luke Hobson was only 700ths behind Popovic and Duncan Scott only 1500ths, making this an incredibly close final all around. Martins taking the race out in such a bold fashion combined with a thrilling final push for the wall made this one of the most intense races to watch so far, but looking at the final results, you may have noticed something. The times here aren't particularly fast. The last time that Popovic's winning time of 144.72 would have been fast enough to win gold at the Olympic Games was all the way back in 2000, 4 years before Popovic was even born. In fact, his gold medal winning time here was actually 400ths slower than his 4th place swim in Tokyo. And these results once again bring up the question that's been swirling around the swimming world since the day before these games began. Is this a slow pool? The main concern is that the pool is only 2.15 meters deep, which is very shallow for a pool at this level. The pool in Tokyo was about 3 meters deep for comparison. The main concern is that with a shallower pool, there is less room for waves to diffuse through the water, and they can even bounce off of the bottom and back up at the swimmers. Calm water is fast water. More waves would in turn result in slower times. While there are some examples of slow winning times, the men's 100 breast from last night and this 200 free will probably be the biggest talking point so far. There's also been a slew of fast times. We've seen Olympic records be set in the women's 100 fly, men's 100 free, men's 400 IM, and most recently the women's 200 free, as well as many fast relay splits. But of course, it's something that we may never know the full effect, if any, that the pool depth had on the final times. For every fast swim, you might say, but it could have been so much faster, and for every slow swim, there are numerous other explanations one might have as well. However, I think that this race and the men's 100 breast really prove one thing in particular. The times don't have to be fast for the race to be exciting. Those two races were some of the most thrilling events from a pure racing standpoint. When we look back on these Olympics, we won't remember David Popovic as the slowest 200 free winner in 20 years, especially when we've seen what he's capable of in the event in other venues. We'll look back on him as Romania's first male swimming gold medalist and as an Olympic champion. What did you think about this race, and what do you think it means for Popovic's 100 free later on in the meet? Let me know down below.